Hello there, my name is Andrew Porter. I'm a composer from Brooklyn, New York, who's been seriously composing, that is, for the better half of a decade now, slowly transitioning into musical theater and just music for theater in general. Um, my influences come from French Impressionist and Romantic era music, my favorite composer being Ravel, and I also gain a lot of inspiration from nature and just being out about in the world. I love baseball, I love cycling, and welcome to my impact. So, I'm going to start by telling a story that I don't get to tell often, and that's the story of my musical journey going all the way back to the very beginning. So, as a child, I loved music. Um, I was born to two parents who were also music lovers, but for them, they loved vastly different styles of music. So, where my father loved rock, jazz, experimental genres, progressive genres, my mother was more on the conservative side. So, she would more appreciate pop, she'd more appreciate rap, some rap. Um, she would find herself listening to reggae, um, soul, and R&B. That was her taste, and I developed both of those tastes, both of the taste from my mother and my father. So I was exposed to a lot of music growing up, and I want to say, if anything, it helped me be more accepting to musical genres and other kinds of music I would listen to moving further in my life. Just having such a rich upbringing to start my childhood. Um, at age 6 or 7, my parents finally gave in after a year of me begging them to. Um, they got me my first instrument, and it was a small 37 key Casio keyboard. That thing was tiny, but that's where that was my first instrument. That's where it all started. So I would play that thing day in, day out for about 4 years, every single day, just doing something on it. And eventually, my random playing, my unpredictable gestures turned into more precise, more calculated um, movements. And without a teacher, essentially I was just improvising. But without a teacher, without someone to guide me, essentially what I was doing through improvising, through trial and error, um, was develop my own internal concept of what sounded good to me, what worked to my ears. So in middle school, I would join my community's youth orchestra, and we would meet for 1 day a week, each Thursday, for about 2.5 hours in a small school in the basement of a parking lot. And it was during this period, my second year in this orchestra, where I had one of the greatest musical revelations ever. So I was listening to Bach's Little Fugue in G minor, and it was a live performance, so being performed by someone. Um, and I realized that in order for this person to perform this piece, someone had to have already created it. Someone had to have already thought about it, wrote it down in a medium that someone else can read, and therefore that person can perform it themselves. And I thought to myself, what if I can be that person to create what other people do? What if I can be that person to write the music that's performed? Um, so one Thursday, I went to my violin instructor. I was a saxophone student in this program, but I went to the violin instructor in the program, and I asked if he knew the piece. He said yes. And then I was like, I like it. I want to write something like that. How do I do that? And this situation for me highlights some of the problems with extracurricular arts programs in inner cities, where sometimes you may have a kid, you may have a child who gains an interest in learning more about the arts and the craft that he's or they're involved in. But there's no time, especially for 1 day a week, 2.5 hours, 15-minute breaks, on a Thursday, there's no time to explore those special interests. In some situations, in my situation, I went to a school and I was in a neighborhood with some of the highest crime and lowest household income in New York City. So there's no money in it either. So it's really difficult to explore these special interests that some children may have. But nevertheless, in the 5 minutes left in this break, this gentleman, this violin instructor, did indeed try as best as he could to teach me something. He tried. He indeed did, but nothing that really stuck. And not to knock these programs, they do a very good job in exposing children and young people to arts that they wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise. And in that way, it succeeds. But the way it's designed, it's not designed for personal growth, for growth as a musician, as an artist in any capacity. No, it's more designed for an end goal, and that end goal is a concert at the end of the year, showcasing what they did. So, but after that first year is gone, next year comes along, and you're starting from square one. There's no growth, there's no personal development in these programs, and that's my criticism of it. But in my case, after I expressed my interest in composition to my professor, and after not learning anything, I just attempted. I downloaded Finale Notepad rather, and just tried to write something that I thought was in the spirit of the piece that inspired me to write in the first time. And I didn't get far, but I did something. So in high school, I would join my high school's music club. And in our first year, they separated us into bands. Now, my band wanted to be special and thought having a saxophonist in our band doesn't make us special enough. So to make ourselves doubly special, we decided that instead of doing covers, we were going to do original music. So one day my drummer came to me with a bass and some chords, and was like, "This is what I got. Can you make a melody on top of this? That's what I'm missing." And I told him I was as good as he was. I mean, I was in an orchestra, but I didn't have any special abilities that he didn't have. If anything, he was a drummer. I can't drum. But he didn't hear me out. He was like, "No, you're gonna do it." He played his bass. He assumed the bass position of the piano. He played his bass. He played his chords. I listened to it a couple of times, couple of cycles, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go for it. What impresses me the most about my contributions to this piece is what I do in the second half of that melody. That minor second motion, jumping up to the sharp four, repeating it, going to the fifth. There's no way that I played that and I thought, yeah, like that sounded good. For me, in my brain, in my ears, I must have thought that was a mistake. And in order to justify that mistake, I had to play that minor second motion again and then leap to the correct note. I mean, for me, looking back, and I was 14, 13, my lack of knowledge with theory, to reason that out, to have the wherewithal to reason that out is impressive to me. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it just so happens that what I gonna call now as a mistake um, that gives that melody the bite that it needs to make it interesting. And it was this experience here, the process of creating music from scratch with my peers, with others, that really pushed me into the direction of writing music rather than just performing music. But shortly thereafter, I would find the process of composing, the process of writing music, to be rather isolating, and that I did not enjoy. And it brought into question whether or not I had the talent, the ability, the drive, or the discipline to be a composer. And I had those doubts for a long time, all the way up until college. And now in college, I would find a solution to this question, and that was theater. Because in theater, you never work alone. You're always in conversation with someone, be it the director, of course, be it with the lighting, be it with the set designer, being with the actors themselves. Um, Always giving input and receiving input. So that collaborative nature of theater and how it's never a one man show and it's the culmination of different artistic disciplines to create something that's better than everyone's individual contributions. That's what I love about theater, and that's where I found my, I'll say, my identity as a composer, or at least starting to. So here I am in my second semester of Brooklyn College, studying composition. The year is 2018. I just finished writing incidental music for a play up in City College, and I finally squashed any doubts that I should be composing or that I could compose. So yay to that. It was every other aspect of my life at that point that I was starting to feel insecure about. And that led to two things. That led to one, I wasn't writing a lot. Admittedly, I wasn't writing a lot, which is a problem when you're in school to write. And two, when I did find the energy and the passion and the power to write, oftentimes they were about powerful and intense emotions. Out of this came the drafts of what will be my most emotionally charged piece to date. So back then, I embarked to write a song cycle based on the ideas of change, stagnation, and essentially watching the world go by, which is what I felt I was doing. Being in music school, being a composition student, yet not writing as much as my peers and as much as my mentors would have loved for me to. So I embarked on this journey, on this endeavor to write a song cycle, it being my first song cycle. And I quickly realized that writing lyrics, writing a story at this stage um, in my career was above me. Yet at the same time, um, I wanted to write this piece, but I didn't want to rush it. It's a piece that deserved my full attention, um, my time, my effort, and weaving a story and crafting these lyrics under the time constraints of being in school, writing it for a recital at the end of the year, yet still working on my other academics, was just above me. It was not possible. I did have lyrics, I did have musical material, and I had to decide what I want to do. And I know that I wasn't going to put up a poorly made, for lack of a better word, poorly made uh, song or a series of songs for my recital. I just wasn't going to do that, and the piece deserved it better. So this is what I ended up doing. I ended up splitting the difference. I had a lot of musical material, some of my best musical moments, um, and I ended up weaving them into a piece that I hoped would be or would serve as a prelude for the song cycle as a whole. I started writing the piece, writing, composing, um, approaching problems, solving problems, and the piece ended up being 9 minutes long, way too long for any prelude, in my opinion. So I just ended up calling it a solo piano piece, and I gave it the same working name that I was going to give the song cycle. That song cycle, that name being Scenes from an Early Autumn Day. I would like to leave you guys now with a musical number from my newly composed musical called Aruba, commissioned by the New Music Theater Project. At this point in the story, our main protagonist, Tony, has just immigrated from Aruba to the United States, and with hopes of making a name for himself as a performer. Enjoy.
Welcome to New Orleans, America's first playground. You can feel the air you radiate from every street. The party doesn't stop here in New Orleans. And when we're winding down, the love is just ramping up. Welcome to New Orleans, where dreams are made. And the sky's the limit to what you can achieve. Just look at me, from nothing I turned the city to my backyard. I welcome you to New Orleans. Before we head to the resort, allow me to show you around. It wouldn't be long. We'll grab a bite, go for a ride across town. What do you say?
The sights, the lights are electric. The energy, the sounds are infectious. And the food's just splendid. I mean, with every bite I chew, I just... Sorry, I just have to.
Well, now that we have some time alone, let's discuss some business, if you will. You'll be playing at my brand new property, the Pavilion Resort Bar and Grill. You'll be the headline 6 nights a week, or 7 if you please. You'll stay in a suite on property, all meals complimentary. Lastly, $300 a night seems fair. Your smile tells me you agree. Well, if that's true, you'll can sign right here. Tony, pleasure doing business with you. And welcome to New
The resort is immaculate. The stage, the venue is spectacular. Tony, you look like a bachelor. Knock 'em dead, tiger. But before you do, sorry, just have to.
Just give me the cue, and I'll do what I do. I'll have this place going off like a loop. Hit 'em with something new, something they've never seen, and gather them before the night's through. This ain't your ordinary routine. The stage is set, all the tables are prepped, in an assortment of white, gold, and blue. It's a beautiful scene for my opening debut. Right now, nobody knows my name. Today I'm just a stranger in this town. But tonight I'll take the step forward fame. And tomorrow the news of my coming will start to make the rounds. But now I'm here after all these years. My career will start to take flight. And tomorrow I'll be a star. And tomorrow starts tonight. Please give it up for this incredible band, y'all. My sister, she's there in the crowd, wearing a smile that stretches from cheek to cheek. But if you're only able to put your phone down, that you'll see tonight.